Introducing NASM One, NASM's ultimate membership program. Unlock access to everything your fitness career needs to succeed. Unlimited CEUs, free courses, access to our premium app, and exclusive discounts, all for $35 a month. NASM One is best-in-class tools, cutting-edge certifications, confidence in your craft, and everything you do as a personal trainer made easy, so we can achieve our greatest goals together as one.
You're listening to the NASM CPT Podcast with Richey, winner of the Sharecare Emmy Award for Social Storytelling and the official podcast of the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to the NASM CPT Podcast. My name is Richey, and today I have a guest, and I want to talk a little bit before I get to the guest because it is a topic that I am fascinated by and that you've heard about. And this is something that I'm really, dog's here and nice. All right. So something that is really important to me. And the reason I say this is because I did an episode a few weeks back, months back, a year ago. I don't know how long it's been. I have to ask my producer, but I talked about, things like Ozempic and Wegovy and semaglutide and these types of drugs. But really the issue that I had, I was perturbed because as somebody that myself being diabetic, I was very mad that so many people are using these drugs that were not diabetic in order to lose weight. And I mentioned it. I am not actually concerned that people are taking these drugs to lose weight. I don't mind that. It's between you and your doctor, and you're going to make decisions because you're an adult. You can do what you want. But when you take those things out of people's hands that need them in order to live, right, in order to keep their health in check, more acutely than somebody's need for weight loss, and in many cases need to lose an extra few, 5, 10 lbs, as opposed to people that are looking at that could use it for larger amounts of weight. So it was a big deal to me, and I did a podcast on it, and actually won my second major award for podcasting with that particular episode. So it's one that is near and dear to my heart. So what I have is I have somebody that's done some research on it and has put together a statement along with several other authors and a review on behalf of NASM. So I'd like to welcome my friend, my Steve Martin, to this SNL, the person who's been on the show more than anyone else. You know him. We love him. Dr. Scott Cheatham. Hey, how's it going?
Hey. Hello, NASM family. How are you? Rick, how are you doing?
Man, I'm living the dream, brother, and I'm so happy that you're on. We always love having you on, and I appreciate that. But this topic is big. So I would love for you to just give us a little introduction. First of all, to yourself, for people who have not met you and heard you on the podcast before, a little bit about you, and then let's get into this topic.
Okay. Well, Scott Cheatham, I am a university professor, a clinical researcher, and a subject matter expert and managing board member of the NASM Scientific Advisory Board. So I do quite a few things in my daily life besides teaching and research. I do a lot of work with NASM and the health and fitness industry. So this topic today is an important one for myself because I have so many of my clients on this medication for cosmetic weight loss. Mm-hmm. So this is gonna be a hot topic for us. What was interesting is that we're lucky that we were able to get together, myself along with several other experts, to put together an evidence-based review of these GLP-1 class of medications. And so if those of you in the NASM family and those of you who are watching are interested, you guys can actually go online and just get into one of the search engines and just go ahead and I'll just use the term Google. Google in NASM downloads, and these are open for everyone to read. They're open source for everyone to see, and we have a short version for fit pros who want to share it, and then we have a longer nerdy version for those of you who want to dig into the research. So those will be accessible on the NASM website. And so I think it's a very hot topic because, again, as we mentioned, so many people are using these, glucagon-like peptide or GLP-1 medications for this cosmetic weight loss. And these are people who do not have type 2 diabetes, and so it's a concern, and I think it's a great kind of red flag for the fitness professional and wellness coach to really understand these medications and also to be able to coach their clients while they're on these medications. And so interesting.
I appreciate that, and the reason I do is because I have several clients. None that will admit to me that they are on it, but I have several clients who are telling me all of their friends are doing it. I have several clients who are hinting at, oh, I'd really love to do this. I want to do this for myself. And so one of the questions I ask, which is, I think valid, is, are you trying to be fitter or just be leaner? And I don't mind that somebody says they want to be leaner if that is their goal, but I certainly want them to be fitter. But also we see this a lot. Like one of my guys says that he has several friends that are on it, and he goes, these people barely have any weight to lose, like maybe 5 or 10 pounds. And they're just kind of the hardest weight to cut is the weight that they're using this to get the edge. And I'm actually a little shocked that they can get a prescription for it. So, kind of help us navigate this a little bit. And I'm not necessarily asking for a for a moral or ethical look at it, because I don't actually have an issue with any of this. Like I said, people are adults; they can do what they want. But my biggest concern is I would like to know, are there things that we need to be aware of, things that we need to watch out for, and then if I'm working with somebody that's on this, how does exercise affect that? And that's something that I need to be aware of for my clients who maybe or maybe not on this, so I can help navigate that as a fitness professional.
Yeah, so I think if we look at the history, the GLP-1 medications, they were created in 2005, so they've been around for a while. But it wasn't until about 2018 where researchers looked at the effects of these medications on people who were overweight or obese and did not have diabetes. And so the interesting part is, once the FDA started approving them, then doctors were able to prescribe these medications, what they call off-label, to people who do not have diabetes for reasons like cosmetic weight loss. So it's really interesting to see, since 2018, 2019, the medical doctors or healthcare professionals that can prescribe are using this pathway, and at least what I've read in the literature, it's called off-labeling. They could prescribe this, obviously type 2 diabetic medication to individuals who do not have diabetes, and then that's why it's been so widely used for what the researchers are calling this cosmetic weight loss. And what's interesting is because this medication is so effective, Rick, is that the GLP-1 is a chain of amino acids that act as like a hormone in the gut and also in the brain. So it stimulates many physiological processes, especially with decreasing, pancreatic function, reducing blood glucose, as well as kind of turning off some of those hunger signals in the brain and the stomach to be short. And so a lot of the medical doctors had found this to be effective in people who were non-diabetic, and so then we started seeing the popularity increase among individuals who just simply want to lose weight. The side effect, though, the main concern is the rapid weight loss and the loss of lean muscle mass. As we know too, when we look at longevity and we look at as we age, especially after, in our third or fourth decade, a lot of experts are saying, hey, lean muscle mass is the key to longevity. And one of the biggest concerns with this GLP-1 medication is the rapid weight loss, but the potential to lose lean muscle mass, as well as some experts are suggesting that you could reduce your bone mineralization also. So there could be some risks for some bone loss. Also, again, that has not been fully substantiated to date, but definitely there's a concern with the rapid weight loss and the loss of nutrients and stuff that could be affecting things.
Oh, amazing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again, we've got Dr. Scott Cheatham, who is with us talking about the GLP-1 pathway, the inhibitors, the drugs, the usage, and getting a little background on what it is and what it means. This is important for us to discuss. There was even a joke that Joe Coy made at the Golden Globes over the weekend about people in Hollywood using these drugs, and I think that's something that is very common than we're seeing a lot of. And this is kind of the Hollywood weight loss drug. And so I want to know a little bit more about the science of it. This kind of stuff is what is intriguing to me. As people are postulating on this, I mean, there's some ideas that maybe there's bone loss, bone mineral density issues. What are some other potential risks that go along with this? Because, I mean, from people that I know, there are a lot of positives that could come out of this for folks. What are some of the things that we need to be aware of and the risks that are potentially there?
Yeah, well, I think if anybody who's interested more, they can go to the manufacturer's website. We do have some resources in our statements that we did put out, but there are common adverse effects of the medications, such as stomach issues, GI issues, fatigue, dizziness, runny nose, sore throat, or headache. Those are the adverse effects that can come with the medication themselves. And then there's a set of other indications and contraindications that are listed on the Novo Nordisk website that people want to take a deeper look at. And so besides the common adverse effects with taking a medication, a lot of experts are circling back to the loss of lean muscle mass and potential bone loss. Those seems to be the other adverse effects that are concerning, because people are losing so much weight. And as we all know, as health and fitness professionals, when someone does lose weight, there is muscle loss, right? It's not perfect, and so that's the big thing. But what's interesting though, Rick, and I wanted to kind of highlight this, is that the manufacturer had set up a series of about 13 to 14 studies to look at all this, and they called them the STEP studies. Okay, so it's a semaglutide kind of manufacturer studies, and what they found was with the medication, subjects were successful when they had a hypocaloric diet along with behavioral counseling from a registered dietitian. And that was based on lifestyle modification. And so I think the take-home message here is, a lot of people are taking these GLP-1 medications now that there's several of them on the market, for cosmetic weight loss, but they may not be adjusting their dietary macros, such as maybe increasing their protein intake to help counteract some of that muscle loss, or they may not be participating in lifestyle modification, such as regular exercise, wellness, and of course, what we just mentioned was good dietary behaviors. And so I think that's important because the original research has a multimodal treatment, not just, oh, let's just take the medication as a standalone. And so but it's interesting though, because the manufacturers and the researchers from the step 1 study, I thought was pretty well done. As a researcher myself, the methods were pretty tight. I was super happy to see that they controlled for a lot of variables that we would control as researchers. But what was interesting though is the step 1 study, came out. It was published like in 2021, so it's pretty recent. But they also did a follow-up after a 1-year follow-up after the initial study, and they found that the participants in the study regained 2/3 of their body weight once they got off the medication and the lifestyle intervention program.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was my next question to you,
Yeah.
which was, what's the effect once you stop taking the medication? Yeah.
And so, and that was a follow-up, a 1-year follow-up from the step 1. So they took a pretty good sample of about 300 plus people and followed them, and they found out once they got off the whole program, which is that multimodal, remember, dietary, counseling, lifestyle modification with the medication, once they kind of got back to their normal daily activities, they regained 2/3 of their prior weight loss.
Interesting. Which I still on a positive note, 1/3 less weight even a year later is still pretty good, but that is something to be aware of. And that's something, I think this is where it was coming from, because I had heard this, that once you stop it, now I didn't know any research on it, I just heard that once you stop it, then the chances of gaining that weight come back. And with that being said, this is, people use this Hollywood for roles. They use it to, hey, let's lose weight because I got this gig coming up. So I guess I kind of get it. But man, has it ballooned into something much, much bigger than that and gone out to the larger kind of masses. And there are people I know that are taking it and no behavior modification, Scott, no behavior modification, and they're just plugging it in, and it seems to be working well for them too. So the feedback that I got from the people that I know that are taking is they just tend to not feel as hungry. Is that kind of what the expectation is when you take this medicine?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be mixed results with people, right? I think we're going to have some people who respond well to it and some people who don't. I think along at least the clients that I see, I do have that mixture. I have some people who've lost significant weight and muscle. And also, I've also seen some individuals who, like you mentioned, they're taking it, but they've already have those pre-established lifestyle behaviors. So I think that there's going to be a mix of people, and I think everyone agrees that the medication itself is pretty amazing. It's a game changer. But I think the take-home message is, as fitness professionals and wellness coaches, we can play a strong role in helping them combine the lifestyle modifications for longer term health. Because unless you have some serious cardiometabolic risk factors, or some of the more severe type 2 diabetes, a lot of individuals I talk to and other medical professionals consider that the GLP-1s may not be a lifelong medication that some people
Okay.
have to take, right? You know, that some people may be cycled off of it, some people may not. So I think the addition of that lifestyle modification, which is proper diet, exercise, and wellness, is something that we could add value to the whole program for some individuals. And I
I
think that's a
agree.
huge thing.
Yes, sir. And I think it's so important because um, there's so much research that's coming out now, even though we understand that there are some correlations with overweight and obesity with risk factors. We find that most of those risk factors, once you start including physical activity, it becomes, people who are sedentary, we see those risk factors rise independent of body weight. And I see research after research, independent of body weight, sedentary, and then they go into movement, independent of body weight, so that movement becomes the thing that helps to mitigate the risk factors, not necessarily the weight loss. So being more active is more valuable. Now, it's not always a very good cosmetic fix. And that took me a long time, Scott, to get my head wrapped around, because was the mindset that people are coming to me for weight loss, and yet fitness isn't necessarily the best weight loss. I think fitness is the best tag along with weight loss, which is the health factors, but also the ability to maintain lost weight when it's done through nutrition, right? So nutrition, like when we talk about, abs are made in the kitchen. Weight loss is really about limiting the amount of calories. When you do a workout, you're not actually metabolizing significant amount of calories that would lead to copious amounts of weight loss necessarily. I mean, you can, but the fact that those things are done together, where there's diet and nutrition. Now we've got kind of this big assist from some pharmaceuticals. However, it doesn't necessarily mitigate the risk factors that go along with it. Is that, or have you seen that risk factors have been mitigated, such as heart disease and obviously like maybe some type 2 diabetes?
Well, yeah, some of the early research. So again, this GLP research is really kind of emerging, and some of the research is suggesting that it helps reduce these cardiometabolic risk factors, like high levels of glucose, some of the risk factors for heart disease, etc. But again, those are still in the infancy, right? We're still looking at these medications. Now that everyone's taking it, we have a larger sample size.
Yeah, that we
right.
do.
Yeah, we got plenty of people to look at. We have a huge sample size. So once if the sample size gets bigger and bigger, things get more significant. So
Yeah, no doubt. Actually, I'm looking forward to doing that. Now, do you know if medical doctors kind of record this and upload it for so that it can be researched on a more meta level?
I haven't seen anything yet, but it would be nice to have a international database where we could track this, because I know the manufacturer has done a good job looking at the first 7 of the STEPS study series, and they've done a good job looking at different things. But again, as we mentioned, each of those studies included lifestyle modifications, right? They looked at the behavior, they look at the long-term effects. So a lot of these researchers are not just dependent on the medications. Another thing, though, I wanted to bring up really quick that we did find in the research is that there are some concerns with somebody who might be a little bit older, let's say older than the age of 50 or even 60, taking the medications. There could be an increased risk for sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss.
Oh.
So again, there are some also too, we have another evidence-based position paper coming out soon for the NASM family about sarcopenia and age-related muscle loss. And we're starting to realize, looking at those two topics, that they kind of cross over. There's going to be some crossover with age-related muscle loss because there's a new subdiagnosis called sarcopenic obesity. People who have muscle loss, but they have a high adiposity to them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So again, we're looking. There's so many moving parts around these GLP-1s. We know that it's been validated completely for individuals with type 2 diabetes, and we understand that it is a game changer for weight loss. But the key thing is how do we help people to maintain once they get off the medication, once these cosmetic weight loss individuals cycle off of it? How do we maintain it? And I think that's where the NASM family is most qualified, is to really coach them on these strategies, right? From a clinical perspective.
I do like this. Dr. Scott Cheatham, thank you so much for talking to us about this, ladies and gentlemen. I think that we are, as we start to near the end of our conversation, I just want to find really some of the major takeaways here with Dr. Cheatham, because it's out there. People are doing this. It is a regular drug for pharmaceutical for many people now. So we have a role to play here. When he talks about the research and there was behavior modification and there were some other things, like this is where we can come into play. But I'm gonna throw that back over to you, Scott. When it comes to just like kind of rounding out what we've talked about, what are the expectations of these GLP-1 medications, and what's the role that the fitness professional plays when our clients are on these medications?
Okay. Well, first, I think the GLP-1 medications are amazing. I think that they'll be a game changer. But I think the take-home message here is that clients who are on the medications obviously need to be monitored by their qualified healthcare provider to make sure that they're safe and stuff. Also, too, with the GLP-1 medications, the research is suggesting that when it's combined with a lifestyle intervention that includes, good eating behaviors, regular exercise, using the U.S. physical activity guidelines, as well as, making sure the wellness is there, that people in the study seem to be more successful. I think that the role of the fitness professional and wellness coach is most important in the area of lifestyle modification. I think that they could work with these individuals to build those good behaviors, to work with things. Also, too, I think it's important for all parties involved, including the fitness professional and the client, to be able to make sure that they're feeling okay throughout this process, because there are adverse reactions. There are risks for losing too much weight or losing bone. So I think it needs to be in the forefront of someone who's taking this. And also, I think it's important to remember that individuals who choose to get these medications, please make sure that they're from reputable sources. Please make sure that they're from your medical doctor prescribed. There are black market counterfeit medications out there. A lot of compounding pharmacies. The FDA has put out many alerts on compounding and counterfeit medications because it's such a popular sector of the pharmaceutical industry right now. So making sure that it's safe and that you're getting reputable medication is huge. Also, I'm
glad you said that, because a client of mine kept getting his from this dude named Billy on 42nd and 9th in Times Square, and I was like, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah, I don't trust Billy anymore. I don't trust Billy. Yeah.
Billy,
yeah. I've been to Billy for a few things, and Billy boy. No, I'm kidding.
His other stuff was good.
Those Midtown people, like that. I'm kidding. Yeah, so it's a big industry right now. It's very popular. And again, I think there's a lot of positives. to all this. But I just think as long as the client is aware of things, as long as they're, supplementing their diet with maybe higher protein, and they're on top of it, I think it's fine for a lot of people. But again, it's those quick cosmetic weight loss that could cause problems that we've seen, and it's been reported in some of the medical journals and stuff.
Dr. Scott Cheatham, thank you so much. Can you let the people know a little bit, like if they are interested and if you're willing them to reach out to you, or if you have kind of a page where they can follow you or learn more about you, then what would those be?
Yeah, pretty simple. I'm old school. drscottwcheatham.com. My personal website from there. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. I don't even know my handles like you do, Rick. So they'll find me, or they can just Google me or whatever. Or my university is also California State University, Dominguez Hills in Southern California. So.
Excellent. Dr. Scott Cheatham, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I know this is something, if you haven't heard about, you're going to. If you haven't been exposed to this topic and this concept, I'm glad that this was the first place for you to hear about it. But it's kind of like saying I never see a convertible Volkswagen Bug, and then all of a sudden somebody mentions it, and then you see them everywhere. So it's going to start popping up. But with that said, you have a responsibility in this. And I don't think the responsibility is to tell them whether they should or should not do that. That's them. They're making adult decisions. But what's the role that you can play, whether a client is on that or not, in their lives to help support them and their road to self-betterment and their road to fitness and wellness. And the other stuff is the other stuff, and let them deal with that. But what can you do to help them in their fitness journey, and their wellness journey, and their strength training journeys, and potentially their weight loss journey with or without this? But there is a role for that for the people who seek that role in their lives. You want to reach out to me, you can hit me up at dr.rickrichey on Instagram or Threads, or you can email me, rick.richey@nasm.org. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your fitness friends and family. Keep inspiring people to fitness. This has been the NASM CPT Podcast.